So good afternoon. I'm glad everybody could come join me this afternoon. My name's Veronica Longenecker, and I'm the Assistant Vice President for Information Technologies. So I'd like to welcome you to Millersville. I've been here 21, 22 years now, so I've seen a lot of classes come and go, seen a lot of parents, have helped get students set up in the dorm rooms, get their computers connected. So we'll start with that. I have a very informal presentation and conversation, so if I don't happen to hit a topic that you would like, please ask questions along the way. The session that we just had was a real conversation, and even between the parents, they were having some conversation, which was really good. So, one of the big questions I always get asked right up front is, what kind of computer should we be buying? Is anybody still looking, or has everybody pretty much taken care of the computer thing at this point?
Purchase.
We don't really have, we don't have a program like through our bookstore. So wherever you can find the best deal, whatever you're comfortable with. We have both Macintosh and Windows machines on the campus. Either one of them can connect to our network easily, so that isn't an issue. Most of our students at this point bring laptops, although we still have a couple that bring the desktop tower computer. Again, either one of those, whichever one works best. I have found that our students tend to bring laptops, although they do not tend to take them to classes. They tend to keep them in their dorm rooms. So along that line, I would recommend that you look at getting the computer lock, the physical cable and lock, very similar to like a bike lock that they can put in. And have a conversation with them about what I call theft of convenience, which is where students are sitting, working on their bed with the laptop. They need to go to the bathroom. They set it aside. They leave the door cracked because it's just 2 doors down. They go down to the bathroom. They run into somebody that they know. It turns into a 5-minute conversation. Then they're like, oh, just run into my room and check out the new whatever that I bought. And before they know it, it's 20 minutes since they were in their room. The door was cracked open, the laptop was sitting on the bed, and somebody walked by and just picked it up and walked out again. We don't have a lot of theft as far as people knocking somebody down or breaking into a room. I haven't heard any of that in the 20-some years that I've been here, but we have had what I am calling these thefts of convenience. We've had a student that set her backpack, she always carried her laptop in her backpack, set her backpack down in the smack, went in to get the food, came back, the backpack was gone with everything in it. Again, something that I'm just not sure that they think about, and they get very lax because it's a very trusting environment. It's all their friends, it's everybody that they know in the hallway, and they just don't necessarily think about it from that standpoint. So it's sort of an FYI from them. Again, I don't want people to panic. We have been very fortunate, but it is something to keep in mind. So having the locks where they can lock it to the bed or they can lock it to their desk helps prevent that. If they're going to leave the door open, somebody can't just walk by and pick it up and walk away.
And if I can chime in, like, it's not something you need to worry about too much either. Like, I've never heard of anybody, I mean, I've only been here a year, obviously you have much more experience with that. I've never heard of anybody getting it stolen. I had a laptop lock, I mean I still do. And I used it the first couple of weeks, but what happened for me was that I was friends with my roommate beforehand, so like I wasn't worried about her stealing it. And I used it for a little bit, but then it was like, we always lock our door when we leave, so I kind of decided for me it wasn't that important because we always shut the door and locked it. But it just kind of depends, I think, what needs you have with that. I think that a lock could be a really good idea, especially, I mean, if you don't know your roommate, you never know, not that you don't want to be like, I don't trust you, but just like, I'll just keep it locked. Just, you never know. So I think it's a good idea.
It's at least worth having that conversation. Our dorms are wireless. They have both wired and wireless connections. So if you have a wireless card, you can connect to it. The requirements that you're going to need is the latest updates for your operating system. So you're going to want to check and make sure that you have the latest Windows updates. And the second thing is that you're gonna need an antivirus program. We have about 15 or 20 in the pool that we accept on campus, so I'm not sure that we have found one recently that somebody's had that we don't accept. So we're not tied to Symantec or McAfee or any particular one, but we do check and make sure that you have an antivirus that is the latest version and has the latest definitions installed on it.
How do you check that? Do you remote to the machine, or do you just?
We actually have a program called Cisco Clean Access.
Okay.
And what that does is when something goes to connect to our network, it goes out and checks some registry keys to make sure that it has what it considers the latest information.
And if it doesn't, does it tell the student what they need to do?
It will tell them that they need, there's some remediation that they need to do to their machine, and it'll help guide them through exactly what they need to do.
And where do you find that list of the accepted ones?
It's built in within the software, but like I said, I'm not sure that we've ever found one that has not been accepted. So if there's any that you're used to dealing with, including several of the free ones.
Well, that's what I was saying, first, any of the free ones?
Any of the free ones will work in there. Like I said, we
Like
haven't.
Mono or some other thing?
Any of those will be fine. Okay.
If they don't have the latest window update, how do they get that?
You want to go down under your start menu and you can look. You have to think about exactly. There's a way that you can do Windows updates.
Go to control panel.
I was going to say, no, it's under control panel. I wasn't sure if there's
And then
another
there's
one. There might be
and
another
there's a
one.
system
in
thing.
7.
Is there
System
technical
security.
support here that can help her do that if?
There's the other thing. We have what we call our SafetyNET program. SafetyNet is in the first floor of Boyer Computer Center. So the library that's being renovated, next to it is the parking lot. Next to that is a brick building that's called Boyer. And right now that parking lot and Boyer are in front of the road construction. So you saw where they were doing the road construction. That's the area of campus that we're in. We have on the first floor, we have a program called SafetyNet. And students can bring their personally owned computers there, and they will help them with any viruses that they might have. They will help make sure that they have the Windows updates. If they need some free antivirus software, they'll help them install that. We are not hardware certified, so if there's a problem with the hardware of their computer, we will help them diagnose that a little bit. We will even help call an 800 number if they need to call Dell about possibly getting something returned for repair. And we'll help them answer some of the questions that they get. But we're not certified to actually do the repairs ourselves. But sometimes we can help them, at least call Dell and get that process started.
Is that an included service, or is there a charge additional?
There is no charge for that. We include that. Actually, some of that comes out of their student technology fee. So we pay for some of our students and the full-time staff that run that program out of their student technology fee that you guys have already billed for.
What is this wireless card that you mentioned?
Most of the laptops now have wireless built into them, so you're just going to want to make sure that it has wireless capability. Yeah,
Is
that's
it
all.
wireless N or G or?
G.
Any security on wireless?
We do not have security. It is not a secure web network, the wireless network. We do allow them to bring any of their gaming devices and put them on the network. So if somebody has their Xbox 360 or some other product that they want to bring and game on the network, we will provide them jacks to do that, and they can connect to the network. Those are usually the ones that challenge me on our bandwidth and the speed of our network, are the gamers. They're usually the ones that will call me and say, it was a little slow last night, I lost. Okay. So we talked a little bit about printers. Although we have printers throughout the campus, on that, I do suggest, if they can, to bring their own little printer. Only because we can't guarantee that there's going to be paper and toner and availability for them to get in if they tend to wait till the last minute or they have something that they want to redo right before class. It can be sometimes hard for them to find a location throughout campus to do that printing on that. So they might want to find, printers are fairly cheap, so they might want to have their own printer on campus. I don't know if you have found printing to be an issue.
We talked about that in the other session. Basically, we had concluded that it's probably better to have a printer just for convenience, because then you don't have to worry about running somewhere and printing it. But the printing on campus is nice for like bigger stuff, so if you have a lot to print out, save money on ink, go to the campus computers. It's just kind of nice to have it there.
We have about 14 labs throughout the campus, so every academic building has at least one computer lab in it that the students can go to. Comes out to about 350 computers spread throughout the campus. A couple people asked me about the library, since our library is going under renovation. Gerhardt, which is the building you can see right through this window, if you happen to stand up, is where we have moved our library system core to. So we do have some computers in that area for reference. The reference librarians will still be there for them to help them with their research. We also took our most popular books that have been circulated and put them in that building so that students have easy access to them. And then we have interlibrary loans set up so that students can get any of the other resources that they may need within 24 or 48 hours. But we still have moved a lot of our reference computers over into that space so that they can get there. Any questions about personal computers? Computer labs have the specialty software in them. So we don't expect students, if they need Mathematica or like Adobe Photoshop or iMovie or something like that, those are all provided within our computer labs so that your students shouldn't necessarily have to buy any of the higher end specialty software. Most times what they use their personal computer for is typing up papers, doing spreadsheets, PowerPoints, surfing the web.
One thing you probably do need though is like Office.
Yeah, some sort of an office.
That's something that, like, cause I know I bought a Mac and you have to buy that for it too, like you can add it on, but you need that because that's what you have to type everything on.
Do you find a need for publisher much?
I'm not really familiar with that, so I'm guessing not. I just have like the Microsoft Office, I can type my papers on there, do like any PowerPoint or Excel. It's all included in like Microsoft Office, so I just use that for everything.
We tend to do very little publisher, or as a campus in general. Did you have a question?
So I think about the printers, so it would be a wired printer, right, not a wireless printer, because you wouldn't be able to work through the network. Correct.
So did you say wired or wireless?
A wired printer, and when they go to print out, they're actually going to log into one of the computers that's on our network. So it's not like they can take their laptop into our computer labs and then print out over the wireless network. They would actually log into the computers available.
So if we have a printer in the room, then you want to print from your laptop, you just hook up a USB cable or whatever. Okay.
And that's something you might want a flash drive for, like if you just want to put your paper on the flash drive, bring it to the computers in the computer lab and print it out there.
Our system that we work with, some people have heard about Blackboard. Blackboard's a popular learning management. We actually work with what we call Desire to Learn, or D2l on that. So that's where some of the faculty, and not every class uses it, but our faculty use that as far as putting their syllabus there. Students might be able to drop off, depending on how they have it set up. The faculty members might ask them to actually put their assignments in a Dropbox area. There's collaboration space, so as they're working on team projects, they can collaborate in there. There's an announcement section. They can get example files for classes. So they tend to get into a D2l account. And this is our main homepage, and just to let you know, when you scroll down here, this is the Desire to Learn. So when they click on the Desire to Learn, Learning Management, and under Information for Students, we have some D2l Tutorial Features. And these are all little video clips or step-by-step guides, so that if they need to know how to do something as a checklist, or they need to know how to email something, a lot of the faculty will go over that, especially for the incoming freshmen. They tend to go over that, but if they wanted to reference it, they either missed a section of it or they just wanted to review it, we do try and put that up there in this documentation so that they can get there.
Just a rough, how many professors use the D2l a lot of them, or is it half, or your experience?
My first year, I might have had like 2 or 3 that used it. A lot of mine didn't. I had one that liked us to submit stuff on there, and that's really convenient too. Some of them just have like discussion boards that they use on, like they'll use different features on D2l that just whatever the professor likes. I've had a couple, not everyone or anything. Maybe like a third of them use it, or at least have. I think more though are going to it. So it's like
probably about 50% of our faculty will use it in some capacity on
Okay,
that.
thanks.
Last year was also our very first year. We converted from Blackboard to D2l.
Oh, okay.
so that's probably
So
why.
we only had, that was our very first year of that. This will be our second fall semester going into the D2l.
Would you guess then that probably more professors
I
are
do
gonna
expect more
start using it?
professors to use that. And
I
especially
think-
as more students. We are having more students that are saying that they're finding it to be convenient. They like having everything in one spot that they can look for. They have all the different courses. So I can see that
Do you prefer it to Blackboard, or is it pretty much?
sort of 6 of one, half dozen of another. There's some features that were benefits in Blackboard, but our faculty have really found that there's some enhancements within the D2l environment that they could not do on Blackboard that they found to be better. One of the advantages, the whole state system, so the 14 state universities, Shippensburg, Bloomsburg, Millersville, all of us, all went to D2l last year. And the benefit of that is if you have somebody who's taking an online course or they're doing a shared course, we have some shared programs with Shippensburg. They're now on the same program. If we have students who want to transfer between one university or another, they now have this fundamental learning tool that's the same.
I know, I've used both Blackboard and D2l, and I think I like D2l better. I haven't used it a ton, but it's pretty, I mean, I haven't had any problems with it. Some people claim they've like had issues handing stuff in, but I mean, I'm sure they'll work stuff out, so I haven't had any problems.
We also have 2 other portals. We have our MyBill portal here, and we also have our Banner portal. Banner is where you're going to be paying the bills. It's also where they'll get their class schedules. It's where they will get their grades in there. MyBill tends to be places where they can check on balances of their mapped money. There's more announcements and surveys, activities that are going on in campus. So those are the 3 portals that they'll be going into. And we're working right now on trying to get what we're calling single credentials so that they use the same username and password, but they just have to log into different locations. We don't quite have it all consolidated yet, but that's our goal for the next year is to get them all consolidated. And the bottom one here, the ESS system, if they happen to get a job on campus, that's where they would go to actually look at their pay stub. And that's the system that we use for other people. Also, if you happen to go up here and just click on the current students, and on the left-hand side we have information technology. You'll see we have some popular links here. So you can get some more information about Desire to Learn. If you have, we had some things about wireless. Click on our wireless. It will give you information about our wireless network and how that works. Computer labs and all the different computer labs that we have. Click on individual labs. We'll talk about them. So if there's information there, you see our help desk extension is up there. You know, you can feel free to call the help desk, or the students can call the help desk. They'll help them with anything with passwords, if they're having trouble getting into their D2l account, if they're having problems with their computer, it will help them with any of that. Questions or particular topics that you guys, I want to make sure that I have a couple minutes in case there was particular topics.
Do you have any limits on internet usage? In terms of upload and download?
We really do not. There are certain things, like Desire to Learn has top priority on our network, so that traffic, but we really, other than that, we don't have a ton of limits on our network.
Any limits on streaming? music or streaming video or anything?
That, they cannot do that the way we have our network set up, so they could not stream video or stream audio.
So I can't do the streaming Netflix or anything?
They can do it on their machine, like they can download
Right.
it, it'll take a while to download. They can download to their machine, but they can't become a server and redistribute it.
So if they've got PlayStation 3 in their room and it has Netflix,
Yes,
and
they
they
can.
can stream a movie to Netflix.
Yes, they can do it. Other questions?
Do you offer any external backup?
We do not offer any backup, external backup for our students at this point.
The campus itself is wireless everywhere? Wi-Fi access?
Our campus is wireless in in all of the classrooms within our academic buildings. Our green space is not, so if you went in the middle of this field, you probably would not have wireless. And we concentrated on the classroom spaces and lounges where the students were more than the faculty offices. So faculty offices are not always wireless depending on where they are within the building versus the classroom rooms and the student lounges. Those were the areas that we concentrated
It
on.
sounds like you have pretty good coverage throughout. I mean, if you're in the middle of the field, no, but.
Now, is the quad, because I think,
It does what they call the overflow, so all of our resident halls
yeah.
around the
Yeah, I've been
quad.
able to get on
So
that.
if
That's
you're,
pretty nice.
depending on where you're sitting, and I've been told that there's a couple of trees that you can sit under and still get wireless, but it's
Hotspots.
actually leading out from one of the dorms. We
Yeah.
haven't set it up so that we specifically have a wireless.
I know, I've
connection.
sat on the quad on my computer, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are looking at doing more green spaces. You know, some people have asked to enhance it around the pond where the gazebo is, and some people have asked to enhance more around the quad. But right now, it's sort of what the bleed over from a building.
Is there wireless at that building and new building in Lancaster?
Down on Prince Street?
Wherever the new arts building is or something? just-
Yes, there is wireless down there as well. We're gonna do some minor renovations in that building to bring up the wireless, to bring up some of the classroom technology so that it has the projector and the multimedia cards. And that will all be happening here in August and early September to have those sort of match the rest of it. All right, well, I thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. You have one more session.